Okay, the first item I'm showing is a hand-painted glass bottle. I found this in an antique store for just a couple of dollars. It's actually the same antique store that I have my own booth in. Just looking at this bottle for what it is, it's a neat old bottle with hand-painted florals and gold-painted edge on the lip. I could list this bottle in my eBay store and at best expect maybe $10 to $20, probably closer to 10 as a guess. But when you examine the bottle a bit closer, things become a bit more interesting. So let's start at the top and work our way down. Okay, first we notice this sort of odd shaped lip. I originally thought maybe this had been sort of like an applied wax that had been gilded, and it may be to some degree that sort of substance or just extremely heavy, thicker gilding. I'm not sure. However, I started to look a little bit further on here and noticed that this isn't broken. This was actually designed to, on every corner, have a spout. So this seems very intentional rather than, at least for the production of the bottle for its original purpose, rather than an added on by an artisan at a later time. Next thing I noticed are the mold seams. Mold seams help indicate age on a bottle. And there are a total of 2 mold seams. These seams run all the way down the edge of the bottle, clear to the bottom. The next thing that I noticed was the label on here. This is very sort of Art Nouveau, almost, Art Deco when you get looking closer in on the medallions themselves, but certainly all this scrolled motif out here has that Art Nouveau flair. Okay, this first one was designed by Adolph Wyman. It's an allegorical figure of America sheltering a Native American maiden under her cloak, symbolically absorbing the history of Natives people into the history of the United States. Universal Exposition on the left, St. Louis is over the top, United States of America is embossed on the right, along with MCM IV. The next one is Republique Fracaise. I'm sorry, I know I am not pronouncing that correctly. I would assume this maybe has to do with the fact that we purchased the Louisiana territory from the French. This one here is of Christopher Columbus. It basically says his name, gives a date. The final one is the American Eagle. It says Grand Prize, Louisiana Purchase Exposition. So there you can kind of maybe see the label from the inside. So here's what's really thrown me for a loop. Right now, I think, okay, cool. It's a pretty bottle. It's been hand painted. Was this given away as a prize? Was this something you bought? Why do we have the 4 corners? I don't recall seeing a bottle like that before, but the hand painting is still cool nonetheless. You can see there's a kick up in the bottom. That tells me this is some sort of liqueur, spirit, something that would have sediment, and this is to help bring that sediment down, separate it. It's got these sort of thumbprint indentions. I think there's 3 or 4 of them along the base. And then on the bottom, this is all smooth. You see this kind of embossed printing in here. And it says, federal law forbids sale or reuse of this bottle. And then it has D967. I believe that is a 55 and a 5 or an S, I'm not sure. It's embossed with federal law forbids sale or reuse of this bottle. And this was required on all liquor bottles sold within the United States between 1935 and 64. The Louisiana Exposition happened, or the World Fair, Louisiana 1904 World's Fair, came a little bit prior to that. So is this bottle a fake? I'm guessing yes, just given that fact alone. But what puzzles me is the gold embossed label. I mean, in theory, this bottle couldn't have existed in 1904. So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that. I thought I'd go over it. This is one that, like I said, I could sell on eBay. I could list it just with the facts that I obviously know, I can see. Look at it no more than a decorative bottle that's been hand painted. It clearly has some age, of course, and just sell it with that. But is there something I'm missing? I've tried and tried to kind of look everywhere I can for information on this. And I've been coming up empty on it. I thought I would turn it over to the masses and see if somebody out there has any information that I don't know. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. It's going to be pretty obvious, I think. It's going to be one of those videos that a while from now, hopefully years from now, I look back on and I either have a really good chuckle or cry or both. I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see. Nonetheless, it's going to be entertaining to look back on. I'm Amanda and I'm a small reseller. I have a store on eBay called Pieces of the Past KC. I opened it a couple years ago actually and just dabbled in it. I was still working at the time. 2020 hit and kind of everything went boom. So not literally, just we all know. So things kind of got shuffled to the back burner, sadly. And these past couple months, I've decided to say to hell with it and put everything into this. I'm creating a YouTube channel because I've always kind of thought about doing it, but there's, again, a lot of resellers out there. So another one, yep. Another one. I sell vintage and antique items of all kinds. I really don't discriminate too much. Problem with that is it leaves you a little bit sometimes flustered, baffled, confused, and just outright perturbed that you just can't find a whole lot of information. And let's face it, a lot of places over the years, they've burned down, they've lost records, we have to rely on the people who originally bought these items. They were passed down in their families. Those pieces of information are not always correct either, but it certainly helps to at least navigate the way and maybe pinpoint some additional things that would be helpful. Although the vast majority of my current inventory is glass and pottery, I have accumulated a plethora of buttons, marbles, different little trinkets, postcards, coins, jewelry, radios, dolls. Next up are these two copper, what I believe to be matchstick holders. They're 100% copper. They've got copper lids. One of them has some very faint red paint. The one on the left there, and I can't make out what it says for the life of me. I'll give you a close-up of it here in a second, but I've just not been able to make that out. And so, you know, I could list these on eBay, sure, with what I know of them, of course, but I really don't know their age. They feel older to me. They may feel older to me than they actually are, but something about them just tells me these have a little bit of age to them. So this kind of puts up a block for me of preventing me from wanting to list them because I just have no deeper information outside of, well, clearly they're copper boxes, tall rectangular boxes with lids. And I am a history nerd and I want to know these things. So I know when matches first were invented, they were unsafe matches. I don't believe they started putting them in booklets like you normally think of for quite a while once they were first invented. But basically, whatever element or chemical they had on the tips of them would ignite at the drop of a hat. And so they had to come up with ways to help prevent fires. After all, the Victorian days, there's a lot of drapes. So we had to try to figure out ways to keep houses standing and people alive. And things like this were the result of it. Not only that, but then they also were kept dry. So I cannot figure out what this thing says. Clearly it's written in script. Is it someone's name? Is it the brand of matches? I don't know. Looks like here you can see a lot of evidence of strike. Lighting the matches. Looks like maybe a slight bit of char or tarnish on there. There's only one seam, so it's made from one solid piece that is then folded into this. Lid on here, thought I'd give you guys a chance to look at maybe sort of the, what are these called? Rivets? Is that what that would be called? I'm not sure. Let me turn on this light again. Oh, there we go. Now you can see right down in there. Clearly used, lots of wear. I mean, I would want that as a collector if I was to get something like this to put on my fireplace or something. But even this little handle is made of solid copper. I mean, this entire thing is solid copper. And then there's just this tiny little bit of red paint left that I wish I knew what it said. But even just really knowing the age of them, I honestly have not found, in my research anyway, the depth of that rabbit hole went on for a while. But I just have not found match stick holders exactly like this. Not solid copper, not, there we go. Not solid copper ones, not in this shape. They oftentimes were round. These looked more like you kept on the fireplace, but I would almost say like you traveled with. I don't know. Is this one you would travel with? It would certainly keep your things dry. So here's a look at the bottom. I mean, again, you can tell the use. As a collector, as someone who is passionate about historical items or just old items, how people functioned before the light switch. I find this just very interesting. I think they're really cool. They would make awesome decorative pieces. And I would just love to know a little bit more about them. I cannot find exact ones. Not exactly. Not the same shape, not the same material. So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Anybody out there have any ideas, hints to toss around, possible age on it? Anything would be super helpful. So my plan on this channel is to bring you with me. I think there's a lot of resellers out there pretty similar to me. Follow me on my journey with getting my eBay store up and going, getting my YouTube channel up and going. I'm excited to interact with all of you. I'm excited to learn from all of you. I'm excited to share with you some of the odd things I've come across and just the plethora of things I've come across and show them to you guys before I even maybe list a lot of them and give you a heads up on what I will have available and when. I plan to start out putting out videos once a week. I'm not a technologically advanced individual. Getting this far has been a very fun challenge. Thank you so much for checking out my very first YouTube video. It only goes up from here. It's the only way. It's the only direction is this way. It's up, not into the flames, but it's up this way. Above it's nowhere near the flames. We're up. It's going up. I'll see you on the next one. Just hit the button. What the fibbits? I don't even know what that word means. Made it up. Tell me it doesn't exist. I don't care. Camera's doing weird focus things. It's doing weird focus things. I'm figuring it out. Figuring it out.